No, the title is not clickbait. For a little over a year now, I, with a couple of friends, have been working on a Minecraft competitor, the Rabbit Hole. And despite only having our spare time available to work on it, we managed to go from this to this. We aren't just taking what Minecraft did and refining it. We have been iterating on it, expanding on it, pushing the boundaries of what a block game can be. There's just one problem. Something unexpected happened during development. Hytale, like a phoenix, rises from the ashes of the AAA game industry, and as a gamer, I'm thrilled. That announcement trailer had me just as hype as everyone else, and I was just as disappointed by the game's subsequent disappearance and cancellation. Seeing Hypixel Studios get their IP back from Riot really does put a grin on my face. As a developer, however, one working specifically on a next-gen survival crafting block game with built-in creator tools, I'm put into a difficult position. Do I just fold? Do I bide my time until the next generation of block games? Or do I do something drastic? Hi everyone, it's Wert. As of last week, I quit. No, not YouTube, not game development. I quit my job, of course. With 8 additional development hours in a day every day, I can turn this into a race. Before I burn through the entirety of my life savings, I need to not just catch up with what Hytale is doing, but overtake it. How are we gonna do it? Let me show you. For those who don't know, Minecraft and block games like it use something called voxels to construct their worlds. This is cool and all, but it's only scratching the surface of what can be done with this kind of technology. You can have worlds that span infinitely deep, or worlds that shrink and recurse down into a fractal. Planetary worlds, cubes wrapped around a giant sphere, simulated all the way from the surface down to the core, thousands or even millions of meters deep. This is the main style of world generation in the Rabbit Hole. Our planets are not curved via some illusion. The world is truly divided up this way. On smaller planet sizes, or when you're close to the core, you can really see how the blocks kind of curve into each other. Satisfying. Even in an early state, the sky and the horizon just give me this feeling. Still not enough though. Call me greedy, but a moon orbiting by would really kick things up a notch. There we go. Now we can get to the really cool stuff. In the Rabbit Hole, not only are the static elements made out of breakable blocks, everything is. The moon, the world, and the creatures that inhabit it are all deformable and destructible. In other words, we have animated voxels, both big and small. This means boss encounters can involve focusing damage to eliminate hazards, or breaking through armor to expose weak points. It also means we can have large worlds interacting with each other, like this moon laser carving a path through the terrain. Why is it doing that? Well, it's one of many mysteries that we will be leaving for the player to uncover. One such mystery is these portals, these holes that punch right through reality. Perhaps another mystery lies at the center of the planet. We certainly won't be making it easy to get there. Over the next year, we will be imbuing what I have shown so far with the spirits of the games whose mechanics have impacted us the most. Games like Outer Wilds, Noita, Animal Well, Rain World have proven that curiosity can be a powerful driving force. Where a lot of survival crafting games become wiki games, we want the Rabbit Hole to be the opposite. Rumor board style progression will give players little hints and branching options on where to go when roadblocks are encountered. A rabbit hole expands as the player navigates through paths of intrigue and points of interest, adding a little extrinsic motivation to send the player to the far reaches of the world. This can allow crafting recipes and abstract goals to unfold organically, and even present players mysteries to solve together even. Speaking of crafting, we have a lot of ideas that we need to try out before we land on something concrete, but we know for sure that we want to iterate and improve on what exists in Minecraft. Being able to paint a recipe like a spell very much embodies the way we like to see knowledge become uncovered. Maybe you need to wait for the game to tell you a recipe, or maybe you can just figure one out through intuition, or perhaps it's your second or third world save and you want to use your knowledge to mix it up a little and skip to something the game hasn't told you yet. We definitely want this aspect represented in some way. Maybe different stations use different grids, or perhaps some grids will always produce the same thing but with different properties based on what blocks were placed where. Maybe we go the create mod route, where there are a couple standard crafting grids, then more complicated ones that you need to kind of build out of blocks. If you have an opinion on this, let me know in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. One style of crafting station that I know for sure that I don't want is the here's a list of things you can make and the materials that it costs kind of magic box crafting station. Some people like these, but they're just not for me. Better yet, crafting is something many players like to automate. Belts, pipes, cogs, trains, we love all that stuff. If we do our jobs right as designers, players will be building extraction networks that sprawl down into the abyss. And like I said, we don't plan on making it easy to go all the way down. Environmental hazards, difficult to break blocks, and monsters of all shapes and sizes will be in the way of that. Combat will be rhythmic and deliberate. The best I can describe is something kind of like Sekiro, but slowed way down. We want to lean into the character destruction mechanic. In Sekiro, if you fight by the rules that the game teaches you, you build up this damage meter on your opponent. When it fills, it gives you an opportunity to do a takedown. We want to do something similar, but instead of having the player getting a chance to either just insta-win or move on to the next phase, we want to give the player a chance to do massive block damage, chopping off a limb or piercing a huge hole in the armor, or maybe just obliterating the thing if it's weak enough. Again, and I can't stress this enough, everything is made out of blocks, and we intend to play with that. A thing I've always been fascinated by is sand game style physics. You ever play one of these games where you drop pixels around and they fall like, well, sand, and maybe some other stuff happens? Well, Minecraft does this a little with stuff like sand and gravel that can collapse in this propagating fashion, but we'd like to see more. In Noita, a game where you're a wizard and everything is trying to kill you, every pixel is simulated. Some stuff falls like sand, some stuff moves like liquid, gases rise upward, everything is always exploding. That's the kind of thing I want to see. Noita makes full use of the 2D grid. I want to make full use of the 3D grid. And blocky grid physics is cool, but I'm also quite fond of physics. Since we already have the capability to have multiple moving voxel bodies, I feel like we need to go the rest of the way with it and have proper physics for objects that have been separated from the world, such as boats or fallen trees. I love this teaser that the Create Aeronautics team put out with the house dangling from the chain. Making something like that possible is kind of the dream. Unfortunately, due to all the other stuff going on with our framework, it won't really be simple for us to incorporate someone else's physics engine. This means there's a strong chance we'll have to implement our own. My eyes are currently on this AVBD paper. We'll hopefully have a chance to have a go at this soon, but getting to what we would consider feature complete on this one might take a while. I know this sounds like a lot, but we've already laid the groundwork for most of these features. If I push myself just a little, I think it can be done. One nice thing about our approach is that we build everything to be data-driven upfront. And not only that, but we build our own dev tools on top of that. And not only that, but we build our dev tools in-engine. And not only that, but we make our dev tools a part of the game. check it out. This is a very early preview of our structure editor. You can actually go play with this right now if you want. Check out Rabbit Ears on itch. It's a game that we made for the Vinesauce hosted Shroom Jam game jam. It is not built to be a bare bones, purely functional type experience. It is built as something that is meant to be pleasant to use. There's music and sound effects and enough modes of interaction to get the job done, but not so many as to overcomplicate things. We're building these kinds of tools for all of the assets that the rabbit hole uses. Structures, creatures, animations, you name it. And we plan on shipping all of that as part of the game. We don't just want the most common types of mods to be easy to make, we want creating those to be part of the experience. We are also looking into scripting, which, if done right, can give modders everything they need to make the vast majority of add-on content that they could dream of. We currently have our eyes on Grug, which is a new scripting language made by this guy. You should check it out if that sounds interesting to you. And that's all I have time to go over for today. Honestly, each of these topics could be their own video depending on how much detail I go into. I left out pretty much all of the technical details here, mostly because I assume that they're boring, but I don't know. Let me know in the comments if you want to know how we got the planet to be round, or have the limbs come off of the guy, or what underlying technology we're using, or something like that. Maybe if there's enough interest, we can do a video on one of those things. That's all for now. Please like, comment, subscribe. You might be lucky number 500. Follow me on socials, follow Over at Software on socials. I'm insane. No, I'm Wert AC. This has been an Over at Sneak Peek. See you in the next one.